Oh, good afternoon, everybody. Trust you can hear me. If there are any problems with the mic, just give me a shout. Thanks for coming. It's good to see you all here. And I don't know if there's anybody online. That's the camera up there. But welcome online. Uh, my name's Rob Coombe. You can see me there. And we're just going to tell you a little bit about our public cloud journey, where we are, how we got there, and where we're going. So, how do we say that at the bottom there? Again? Okay. Which means, don't worry, be happy. This is this is part of our communication campaign that we ran for S4 as part of our change management. This is one of the first slides that went out, just telling people, well, asking the question, have you heard about it? Raise some awareness. Have we heard about it? Don't worry, we've got you. We're going to look after you. It's not going to be a problem. We're gonna go there, and yeah. So just, I think that's really what we tried to do. I'm going to use a very corny kind of a frame to tell you a little bit about our story. It's called the spark. Okay, today is about sparking the S4HANA, sparking the journey, sparkling in the way that we do things. And the first thing that you need to do, and I think this is important for a lot of people, maybe not in this room, but the first thing you need to do on this journey is to actually start the journey. A lot of people accuse me of shooting before aiming. My philosophy is definitely start. If you don't start, you're never going to get anywhere. You might not run all the way, but just start. So how did we start? The first thing that we did was to take our executives. We were back in 2019. We said, this thing's coming. It was 2023 at that stage. SAP is going to stop maintenance. What do we do? How do we get there? What do we do? So the first thing we did was took our executive away for 2 days, took them out to fancy meals, got some good wine, and did some work during the day, and really looked at what it meant to be a digital business. What did it mean for RES to be a digital business in the light of the coming ERP transformation? And I think that's really key. Two things. Executive buy-in is key. And I'm very lucky to have a very supportive executive, very supportive MD who understands the journey that we're going on. But it's important that everybody is aware of where we're going from the journey. We did things like putting up our standards. We talked about this being a business-led project and not an IT-led project. This wasn't just a technical, this was a business transformation. And we had those discussions. Some of them were quite tough, but it's necessary. As long as we needed to be on board, in line at the beginning. So we went away. One of the things that came out that will impact in the story or why it directed where we went was this idea that the business was adamant that we were not going to do a big bang. We weren't going to switch off ECC today and start S4 tomorrow with everything. They were a little bit scared and a little bit maybe wounded by the 2014 experience. So they wanted to sort of cover their risk. And that has guided a lot of our thinking for past here in terms of, without a big bang, it changes a lot of things. It changes a lot of decisions and direction and so on and so forth. Once we had the executive buy-in, we also took some of the business people away. Also, similar thing. What does it mean to be a digital business? Also, 2 days off-site, good food, good wine, good conversation. I don't know why I'm on about food and wine today, but maybe it was after last night. I'm not sure, but we're looking forward to today just now. But yeah, it's important. The off-site bit is kind of important because you get better attention. We get it going. We did it in the Deloitte green room. They're really good, leading, getting the guys to think differently, so on. It really was key. So we embarked on the journey. One of the things that came out of there was the different ways of working and using mission-led teams. It is a Deloitte construct. Personally, I think this is one of the biggest things that influenced our journey to date from a success story. This idea of a mission-led team, cross-functional team, Kanban-driven, new way of working. principled and disciplined, which is quite interesting in terms of when we get together. We just started. Jonathan was part of it. Zonaka was part of it last week. When we started the finance MLT, we said, let's gather as a team together to define what finance would look like. We've done it for some of the other. We've done it for the plant maintenance. We're doing it for agriculture. The first thing they do is learn about the disciplines in a dojo. We talk about it as a dojo, that safe space where we're going to come, practice, work out how we're going to do, and move forward. I think it's made a big difference. One of the big frustration or difficulty for me as a character, but for me as a program manager and a project manager, you can't assign anybody work. And Dion's thinking, how the hell does this work? No. You get a project team together, but you can't assign anybody work. The idea here is that people buy in so much that they volunteer. They understand that this is their area of expertise, that this is where they needed to step up. And you say, you have a meeting, you have a planning session, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do it. Who's going to do that? And you're not allowed to volunteer. Sometimes as a program manager, you have to nudge a little bit. But in general, as a principle, it really is, it made a big difference because then people start owning what work they're doing. They start owning the thinking. They start owning the project and the system and so on and so forth. And I think that has really been a big key, and a shout out to them. This, I just love these slides. I could just put these up and talk. Also from our communication team, also going out to the whole business, saying this is it, this is what we want to do. Agile mindset, that's key, that's part of the disciplines. Oh no, I won't put them on the spot and ask them what the 10 disciplines are. No, but I don't know. We've used Miro as an interactive tool. So each team has their own Miro board where they can go, they make comments. It is completely different. We have a check-in every day. My favorite check-in is, when is your next holiday? That's because I'm always planning the next holiday. But it's just really, really a fun way of working. So, okay, we've decided. We know we're going to use this methodology. Now what? What's next? So the first thing, obviously, is we're going to spend some money. We need a case for change. Not a business case yet. Just a case for change. Why are we changing? Why are we doing this thing? It's too easy to say 2027's coming, 2025's coming, this thing, next thing. We actually did a huge amount of work working on this case for change and using the 5W approach. I'll give you a little bit more detail on that. We needed to understand the technical architecture. What did our systems look like when we were finished, or when we started? We needed the private-public debate. We needed to have some idea of budget. Still very early day figures. We needed to get a partner. We weren't going to do this by ourselves. And we needed to build an internal team. Those are kind of the steps that we took in our planning to get the spark flowing. The 5 Ws, it's standard stuff. You've seen them all before. What's changing? Why are we changing? What are the benefits? And that's quite a lot of hard work. People haven't seen the system. They haven't seen anything. We're going to change. Why? What are the benefits? Who will be impacted, I think, is key. Always, always, always. We miss out some people. We miss out something. But that work from a change management perspective is incredibly important. Who will be impacted and when will the change occur? So that people know and they understand and so on. The other key for this case for change is how we linked the program, the project, the end point back into our corporate strategy. We have a corporate strategy. We update it on a regular basis. It's a key part of our business. It's two-pronged. First leg, prongs to legs, not sure. First leg would be around efficiency. How do we as a business operate more efficiently, and how can we reduce our unit cost of producing sugar? Key driver for our business, key strategy, spend a lot of energy, a lot of money trying to get that done. The second leg of our strategy is to move down the value chain and take our products and get more value for us as a business. New products, new markets, and quite key. So we tied this project in there. directly linked to the initiatives within the strategic, our rollout plan. So people were aware of where this was coming from, why we were doing it as part of the strategy. You can see these E1s, E2s, E3s, E4s are specific initiatives within our corporate strategy. And I think that's really key as well. We're not doing this for IT, we're doing it because it's part of our overall strategy. We went out to market. We found a partner, don't know where they came from, by the name of Dimension Data, and we used their discovery phase, discovery phase approach to get to some of those answers on the 5 whys. To keep building our business case, to have a look at our technology, to see what the roadmap looked like for the actual implementation. This was separate to the implementation, by the way, separate tender, just to get us going on the roadmap. This is a slide that they put together, copied it, sorry. Pre-work, preparation, explore, realize, position. And they came in and they worked very hard with the business. That whole thing about pain, you know, the pain story. What are your pain points? What don't you like about the old system? It's fairly important. We're not going to solve all those. I don't think we have a promise to solve all of those, but it's good to understand them and good to put them on the table and get people thinking about what don't we want to happen. It's a bit like Dr. Zeus, you know, how they to learn things by not doing it. But really important to get the buy-in, get the business to be involved right from the beginning. List them out, talk about them, what do we want to change. That was key. They're a very good tool to figure out whether you go public, private, whether you go... In those days, it was still whether you go on-premise or on cloud. I don't think you can buy on-premise anymore. That wasn't long ago. It just shows you how quickly this thing changes. All that work is in there. What's your FUE count going to look like, according to SAP's calculations? We can talk a little bit about... Is anybody from SAP in the room? We can talk a little bit more about that and how you work out those FUEs. It's important. It's a big part of it. All of that is part of this program. And we did it, and we worked through it, and we came out with our... these were some of the things. The greenfield, brownfield debate, I think is important. That's why I put this up. The key there, organizational change. If you're going to greenfield, organizational change. We understood that. We knew that needed to happen. That's part of our driver around change management and so on. A business transformation scope. That's what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to assist the business to become a digital business. We make sugar. It's not terribly digital, but there are many, many areas of the business that we can put digital into practice, where we can save money, where we can become more efficient, where we can find advantage. And so those were some of the things there. The executive sponsor is key as well. So now we had a decision. We knew our technical architecture. We knew we went out again for tender for the actual partnership. We did an interesting tender. Anyway, a different tender. We went out to tender for AMS and S4 because we weren't going big bang. We were going to do it over a period. We said it doesn't make sense to have an AMS partner and a project partner. Every time we want to do something, we don't want to go out to tender again. So we did a blanket 5-year tender across the different, both AMS and implementation, and it's much easier for us to work and operate and be agile and go forward and do things. So we went to tender, partner, did the rollout plan, sat in a room with some very clever people from Dimension Data and thrashed all of these things out. I think I've said it before this week, we go plant maintenance first, and somebody was asking me at lunchtime, why plant maintenance? I don't know if this is a sound business reason, but the reason we went plant maintenance, we part of the journey of discovery, we brought a team up to SAP, to their Explore Center, their fancy center here in Johannesburg, and they showed us a whole lot of things. And one of the things they showed us was what was happening in plant maintenance, cloud. What was available in the cloud and plant maintenance. And it really excited the team. And we wanted, with the MVP, small thing, to get the evangelists, to get the people in who could get excited, who could see value quickly, could understand what was going on. So we started with plant maintenance. The reason we chose the fleet workshop, so there's a big advantage there. We see a lot of good things happening, a lot of good things coming. But we also then chose the team that were a little bit organized, the ones who had all their task lists sorted. They had their asset master or equipment master sorted. So we chose them. We sort of try to keep it simple, try to keep the risk low. That's why we went there. And we've got this approach where we plan, we've done plant maintenance. We have an S4 system with plant maintenance, very small part of the business. Now we can roll it out to the other 6 workshops. So it's like a phased rollout, but it's through process, and it's department by department. So that gives us a lot of advantage. It's very small risk, very small effort in a way, although I'm not too sure Nkobili would agree with me from an effort perspective, but that's how we're going to do it. That's how we're going to do all of them. We've started defining how one section on the farm is going to work in S4HANA. And we make the assumption that one section works that should, in the last, maybe 85%, 90% work in the rest of the section. So we can get value quickly. We can work hard, do the complicated stuff in one place, and then roll it out and get value quickly. Finance is next. When we go finance, we'll do procurement and sales, because it's very difficult to buy and sell things without the link into finance. We'll do those together. We've started that definition, as I said last week. What does the finance team look like? We're going to work with them first. I think, as I said before, IT and systems is not a differentiator for us. So we're not expecting a whole lot of pain and trouble around debtors, creditors, and so on and so forth, although I can tell you now that those people who are running those things feel a lot of pain. So we're trusting that the move there relieves them a lot of pain, and we can just get on and do this sort of clean core standard work as needed. So that's our plan. Now we start acting. Okay, so I don't know if you've worked it out. We started, we planned, we're now acting. That's the first 3 things of Spark. Oh, it's there. We'll talk a little bit more about the fleet in motion, the Kanban. We've said a little bit there. We purchased a service from SAP called Baseline Activation. There's probably a little bit of debate about the value there. I think it's a no-brainer. If you are going public cloud, just do it. A lot of people ask me, how do they see the system? Did you do a demo? Did you do a POC? Did you do these things? And those things are expensive and complex with SAP. And you're going to spend money on them anyway. If you want to rent a system for them, you can get a demo system. I think it lasts a month. And then they want to start charging you, and it's complicated. And you need to know a whole lot. You just get a blank system. Here's your demo. This way, 6 weeks worth of working with them. Took a bit longer than 6 weeks because we struggled a little bit with some of our definitions. 6 weeks of worth from them. We had an up and running public cloud system, which covered sales, purchasing, finance, and one other module. Anyway, procurement, yes. Procurement and materials management. Up and running. Small, one company, couple of plants you could do. There's restrictions on the size of the effort. But all the tools that SAP used to make plants, to make cost centers, to load charge, they're yours. They give it to you. And you've seen how they've done it, and you can do it yourself. You can add the other things on the way that you go. So for me, it's a non-brainer. As I say, I shouldn't really mention cost, but it's for the less than the cost of a very small car in Southern Africa. It's not, we're not talking anywhere near 6 figures. It just, if you want to go public cloud, I think that's a no-brainer. Where we did it, quite early for SAP, quite early for a partner. So that's why I said maybe we're not too sure about the full value, but for me it makes a whole lot of sense. The method that we're doing, so I've talked about we've got plant maintenance. I've got a whole lot of people transacting in S4HANA. They're doing tasks, they're doing repairs, they're using up spares, they're logging their time in a system not connected to our finance system. So now obviously we've got to build that link. So the integration is key. It's something that I've spoken about to SAP themselves. It's not very easy. SAP is thinking cloud. Okay, so everything we can link into S4. You can, the number of APIs, the number of DSOs, DSMs that they've added to get stuff into S4 is amazing. But we're saying we want to take out of S4 and put back into ECC. And that was a little bit more tricky. But we've done it. I think the big thing, CPI and event mesh. So we're using cloud platform integration. We big into BTP, believe it to stick there, same platform, makes it a lot easier for us. It's quite cost effective. Event mesh is quite a lot of fun. I think that's going to be a big technology going forward. So what is event mesh? Event mesh is just a technology which you can point at different systems and say, if this happens, do something. It's kind of that simple. Everything's simple in my head. The team do all the difficult stuff. But so when procurement receive goods in ECC, it raises a flag, goes off to S4 and say, okay, we've got 10 of these things. You better put 10 of these things into your stock. And I think, that's a silly advantage. It doesn't add much benefit. But if you think of that in the context of where people are today and workflow and the way people work, imagine a machine goes over its number of hours or over its kilometers and it hasn't been in for maintenance. You don't have to wait for some supervisor or some clerk to run his report every week to do this thing, to do the event. Boom, off. Mr. Plant Maintenance Manager, this machine is running without past its due date. The use cases are immense from a notification, much more efficient way of doing business. So I think that's very key for us. It's new, we're working on it. We'll have a glass of champagne when it's completely meshed and working, but I think it's key and it is very good. I've got to cross through Coombe, basically because Rob's always in a hurry. And we have dates. I'm a terrorist when it comes to date. If you tell me you're going to finish something on a date, just finish it on that. Don't come with any stories. Unfortunately, there are two ways of getting config into S4HANA. One is through this thing called CBC, the business configurator, and cloud business configurator. And the other one is through Coombe, which is the cloud ALM management. When we did the baseline activation, they did all the work, SAP did all the work in CBC. The Coombe was not part of the baseline activation. We activated it, we tried to keep up with them, but we got too busy and we got a little bit lost. So there's some technical debt we need to use. That's the only reason that the crosses through it. We do believe there's huge value going forward and getting it to work and getting it done properly. There's a lot of work to be done there, but that's kind of where we're at. So that's some of the action. The internal team, we did a whole lot of things. We have a super user forum. They meet on a regular basis. We meet once a month. For about the last year, the only thing we've been doing in that super user forum is S4. This is what it looks like. This is what's coming. This is where you can go and get information. This is where you can go and train. This is where you can go and find out about S4. That's all we've been doing with them. I think that's key. I've talked about the 5 C's before. Maybe there's some people who weren't here have heard about it. It's Coombe's crazy Christmas coding challenge, where everybody in our IT group had to get onto BTP, into the, that stage it was AppGyver, SAP Build, and put together an app. They chickened out and they got into Teams and they did some whole lot of stuff in Teams, but there's a whole lot of work there. That really bring the IT team together in terms of this is a new way of working. This is a new thing. This is exciting. Bit of a competition. We haven't awarded the prize yet. I think everybody was quite excited about the prize. But anyway, we're getting there. But just to bring the IT team together, to say this is the new world. This is a new way of working. It's not... governance is important, but this is not all about a FDS and a business requirement and a whatever. You can very quickly build an app. The other side of it was, said to the guys, this is it, before Christmas, you've got to do this, but it has to have a business value. Don't go in there and build a tic-tac-toe app or something like that. that has to have a business value. So it forced everybody in IT to have meetings with the business and say, what can we do for you? What little thing can we add, because it wouldn't need to be too big, that we can add for you in a fairly quick, short space of time. And so you've now got a better working relationship between business and IT. It worked well. We looked at skills for the future. So I have an IT team, very comfortable, lovely team, been there for a long time, work really well. But the stuff they're doing today is not the stuff they're going to be doing tomorrow. So we've done a lot of work, we spend a lot of money. IT has the biggest training budget in the whole organization of 4,500 people. Us 30 have a bigger budget than any other department, operations, whatever. Because I think it's really important, the training. And training includes coming to events like this. It's exposure, it's thinking, it doesn't have to be classroom-based. We've made it quite important. We did buy some licenses for Learning Hub for the teams to go away and do it. Oh, we want to go to class. No, it's the new world now. It's cloud. Get on there and learn. It's your story. I did make a promise when I joined RES 11 years ago. I said, when I'm done here, and at that stage it was only a 6 months contract, when I'm done here, your CVs are going to look better. And we're still keeping that going, and we're still getting the guys through training and learning and so on. It's really important how we've looked at that. Development skills. ABAPers. We had a few ABAPers trained. We didn't like Z. We kept fairly clean. We did do some Z. Not many of them around left. But now we're going into BTP. We're going into Build. We're going into Java. We need some of those skills. And that's also useful. I don't need to go and look for an ABAPer in Eswatini, which is a little bit difficult. If you think it's hard in Johannesburg to find new young ABAPers coming in, you try find it across the border. So now I can go to the universities, the training colleges there and say, have you got some Java guys? Can they come? They can spend 3 months with us. We can do that. It changes the dynamic in terms of skills going forward. It changes the younger people we can bring in. So this is all about building our team. We did a lot of show and tell, analytics show and tell, the story I tell. I'm full of stories. I've only got 3 minutes left. So it'll be quick. UAT manager comes in to test because he's got to approve the maintenance order. He hasn't paid much attention to the whole project to date. He wasn't part of the core team. He was sitting there looking bored while his guys were there waiting to do the confirmation. He said, hey, what's this thing for you? What's this S for? No. He says, that's just another system. No value to me. I'm just here to test. It's not going to make any difference. So, okay, fine. You got your computer on there? Yes. Okay, you've got your login screen, your Fiori. With public clouds, all Fiori. Okay, there's a search bar. What do you want to know? I want to know what's the most expensive repair. Now, I don't know. I have no idea. Somebody could tell me how to do that in ECC. Don't know. Wouldn't have a clue where to start. In the menu, this, logistics, somewhere. Anyway, we would try and find some report that gave us something. We tapped in there, maintenance, Zhups, all the apps to do with maintenance come up. Have a look. No, this one's transactional. Okay. I said, well, why don't you try analytics? Okay, tap in the analytics. Zhups, here comes the list of all the analytic apps that are available. There's one for plant maintenance. Clicked on that thing. All the maintenance orders for the last week were there with their costing. Sort by that button, sort by the most expensive. Drill in. This is what it was. This is who did it. This is the stores that they did. And suddenly this guy's, whoops, his eyes are big. Oh, this could be interesting. I can now manage my department a lot better. I don't need to wait for IT. I don't need to wait for a report. So that kind of show and tell stuff. This is building an internal team, not just IT, but the business team as well. Don't know how we're going. Another one of our great slides. Get out there, tell everybody what is it. Please attend workshops, do what you do, and so on. So, nearly done. I'm going to skip a little, because I want to leave some time for questions, maybe. We've done the MVP. We're in. We're running. We're live. Some of those outcomes, I think it's always important to have a look, stop, think. Okay, we've done a whole lot of work. Where are we? Where are we going forward? The system works. Okay, that was not a surprise to us, but for some people it is. The system works. There's no issues there. Exponential learnings. Doing it, we've learned a lot. If I was to ask the team, if they go back November last year, July, the learnings have been incredibly, they've been big. And we tested partnerships. We stuffed up. We made a mistake. We misread something in the baseline activation, and we ended up with a system which was unusable, according to the business. We got the fiscal year variant wrong. So we do a 445 manufacturing. We messed it up. This is the thing that's telling me I've only got a few minutes left. I suddenly thought of bread. That's the same thing that goes off when I need to take the bread out the oven. Sorry. We messed up. We had this fiscal year variant thing going. It was wrong. It was not how we ran the business. It's not how the actual whole sugar association works. Now what do? The answer from SAP is you trash, you lose all that work you've done for 6 months and you start again from scratch. That was the answer from SAP. So we had to go back to business and say, now what do? We can trash, we can use the last 7 months, we can do this, or we can change our fiscal year and our posting periods. I see some faces dropping here. What kind of a response would you get out of your department, your finance department, if you said we're changing the reporting period? Anyway, we did, and then we needed to show a whole lot of stuff. So we got the finance team to work. We got SAP involved. They showed us all sorts of things. Dimension Data got involved, showed us all sorts of things. We worked together. It was about a 6-week delay while we sorted what the implications. What does that mean for us? What are we going to do at month end? Remember now I'm running 2 parallel systems. The one finishes on the last Thursday of the month. The other one finishes whenever it cares at the end of the month, the 30th, the 31st. And now how do you do these reconciliations? We had to shop all that stuff with everybody. Got a lot of support from SAP. We worked it out, and I have to have a big shout out to the business. There's some accountants represented here. The business agreed to change the fiscal year variant. And so now we've gone, and the whole sugar association is going to change, and it suits everybody. But that we really tested the partnerships, and I think that's key as well. Lovely small project. If we had wasted 7 months, we would have wasted 7 months. We would have cried. But now we know we can work. Anything that happens, we can solve. We had SAP experts trying to write code, do all sorts of things. Anyway, we know that it works. I was meant to skip that slide, and I'm now over time. We're now live. Banner on the left, we're live. Those three, these 3 things here, okay, I didn't test it. Those are comments from our users. This is the one I loved. I went into Facebook, somebody had asked to follow me. This one here. It's a young technician who's been working, he's a planner in the stores, he's working. That's what he posted on Facebook. Not to us, not to anybody else, saying this is what I used to use. This pen is what I used to use. And he stood there with a picture of his pen. This is the one, it's gone away now, I can do it. On his phone. No issues, nothing. It's a mindset change. It's a whole jump for the business from where we were, pen and paper, to here. Massive. That's made my year. You know, the other ones, tools friendlier. Somebody wants to get a notification. Just a quick shout out. I talked about the financial statement version. There's standard things within public cloud. There's standard processes. Okay. There's standard config. There's also something called standard content. And I'm in negotiation. I'm talking to SAPs, not a negotiation. We're talking to them. That's a bit of an unknown at the moment. As they bring out new product, and there's new updates every 2 weeks with a big upgrade every 6 months. There's new things come out every 2 weeks, big upgrade every 2 months. They have said in some of their documentation, if we add a new process, we will add new GL entries to cover that process. Now, you can imagine how well that fits in as a standard content, because that standard content gets loaded to everybody. You don't have a choice. It happens. So it's a little bit scary. What do we do with our chart of accounts now? We have a chart of accounts this long and this wide, and anyway, they're smiling. They know I have a big war with them about chart of accounts. But now what happens if suddenly there's a new one in the middle of that by SAP? And it's not just chart of accounts. Plants, there's a naming convention for how you do your companies, all this kind of stuff. We don't know what that impact is going to be yet. It's a flag that we are watching for. The lessons learned is always important. What are the diamonds for the day? That's part of our MLT. What are the things that you've done? What are the good things that have happened over this journey so far? And the trends. Costs down, 15% less. Running cost for SAP by moving to S/4HANA. And the cost of implementation has come down. Ways of working. There's MLT's big thing. Low risk. As I say, we've messed up. That we've told you about the one big one. It's not the only one, but the risk is low. We could have messed up just one small thing. We get it sorted. We go forward. User acceptance is brilliant. It's gone very well. And mobility is key from where we are from ECC. And we've done nothing. It's just you log in through Chrome to your public cloud item. You get the Fiori apps. We haven't done anything else. It's allowed the guys to work out there. So that's my Spark. Start, plan, act, review. If you haven't started, start. Just start. You can try and analyze. Everybody's asked me, how do you do this? How do you get approval? How do you... Well, just start writing the business case. Start planning to take your guys away. Just, look at your team. You just need to do it. Start. Plan what you're going to do. Maybe people say it should be the other way around, but not me. Act, and then have a look, learn, and move on. And we have a sparkling product at the end of the day. I think I'm done. I think there's a few minutes left. You know how to get hold of me. Any questions? I think that's, for me, that's pretty key. Is this the mic? Oh, you got one up there. Anybody got any questions? Very happy to answer. Yes, yes.
Thank you. How's Rob?
Hi.
Okay, so your project was in stages, and you've taken plant maintenance first, yeah?
Yes.
You probably completed finance, or you're busy with finance?
No, we haven't completed finance. We've
Okay,
only started finance.
Okay, you started finance.
1 weekend.
So when you were doing the maintenance, there were probably quite a bit of functionality you absorbed and you implemented, and there's maybe some functionality which is good for you, but you never implemented as yet, and you've got a plan for the future. How do you plan to incorporate that, and will it be parallel to the current project?
So the way we're doing it, we're saying, what do you need to run the business? Hang on to that, and if you wouldn't mind, because this poor guy has to run backwards and forwards to control the mics and whatever. So so the question was, what is for the people online, in case they didn't hear, we've done maintenance, we've done some items. What about the new? What about the additional functionality? What about so on? How do we fit in with finance and so on? The answer to that is yes. We chose the things that are core. This is what we do in maintenance. These are the only things we do in maintenance. We know there is more. And that team, as I said, we've defined it. We'll now roll it out to everybody else. At the same time as that rollout's happening, we want to kick off another stream which says, okay, so what's new? What's the innovations? Apart from just the standard processes that we do to maintain our vehicles or the equipment and so on, what's new? Mobility is one of them, a different form of mobility. But anything else that we can think of in that space will be rolled out. We use the MLTs. We will form another team that says, your job is to go and look for innovations within maintenance, within the S4 journey that we're on. This is what we've got. You go and look and see what else is out there. We empower them. We work with the partners till we add that value as we go. So that's the plan. We'll tell you how it goes later. Any other questions? Yeah.
Have you considered using like a BPI tool like a Celonis or Signavio to see where your process can be improved before, I guess, moving forward? Or is that something that, just going to S4, you're hoping you won't need to consider anything like that?
So I don't know if everybody heard the question out there. Is that working? Do I need to repeat still? Okay. So yes, we have had a look. We certainly had a look. We had looked at Signavio. We've looked at it before. We would love to have Signavio, some tool like that clicks in, that works easily. It wasn't appearing in our budget, unfortunately. It's not necessarily cheap. So all our process, we have a team of BAs who work with the business, working for IT, working for the business. They're looking at all these things. They know the 2Bs. They know the as-is. They're working quite hard on the 2Bs, but it's all manual. I think there is advantage in doing that. Part of the SAP value, I don't ever get the right words. The value act that you had to put in all the information. We gave them access to our box for 6 weeks. They saw what we did and what we didn't do with it. Part of that comes and says, this is where you need to improve, that's where you need to improve. But it doesn't tell you how, what, or why, or where, and that's the kind of thing that we would love to do. Or even a scenario. What happens if? This is new. You know, the finance team. What happens if we go this way instead of that way? What are the implications? That we would love to have a tool like that. Just don't really have the money at the moment. Any other questions? Otherwise, it's plenary and then dinner. Thank you very much for your attention, and those of you online. And yeah, happy to take questions outside as well. So thanks, everybody.